Hey folks, welcome back to another MB Heritage Farm video. Now, it wasn't long ago that you guys who do follow us along know that on a Wednesday night premiere we showed you guys how we propagate elderberry and then take those cuttings and take them in the house and start them in water. This video is going to be continuing on with our elderberry video. We're going to show you guys what to look for and how to know when they're ready to be transplanted. We're also going to do a series in this one video. So in this first part, we're going to show you guys how we transplant them into smaller pots, how to know when they're ready, of course. And then we're not going to do anything else with this video until they're actually established good in those pots and the weather's good enough for them to go outside. So the ending of this video is going to be somewhere around 2 months from here. We'll put it all together and we'll show you guys obviously at the end of the stage. So follow us along. We're going to show you guys what we do here in the early stages when our elderberry is ready to be taken out of the water, put into soil, stuck under light, and then we'll just pause the video and wait till they're ready to go outside and continue on from there. So thank you guys for watching and stay tuned. Here we go. Okay guys, so here we are in the seed station, and as you can see we have our elderberry established on the heat mat. We have acclimated them down to our room temperature and unplugged the mat. They've been in here for around 6 days already. As you can see, we do have some green leaves established, some nice little buds on each node, some leaf bud, and what I'm going to try to do next is show you that we do have some of those roots established on those stems where I told you the little white pimple would come out of the stem there. We do have some of those established, but as you can tell, I just can't get my phone to focus in on them. But you can see the little white dots there that indicate the pimples. Like I said, they've only been here around 6 days. They'll get a little bit more established and we'll show you what they look like then. And basically all those little white pimples is going to start growing white hairs. Then after that, it'll be time to set them out. So now there's a few things I want to talk about when it comes to water. So when you start any cutting in water, there's something that everybody needs to know. Roots that are established in soil have a whole different makeup than roots that are established in water. And a lot of times when you take cuttings out of water, they have what we call water roots or hydroponic type root. Those roots will take a little bit longer when you put them in soil and you transplant them. They take somewhere around 2 weeks to transition over into those soil roots. Reason why is because roots that grow in or get established in water don't really have the little fingers and the hairs coming off the roots. They're just slick tubes. They don't have to work so hard to pick up water because water's readily available and touching them at the source. So when you put them in soil, they have to start spidering out, growing fingers, feathering, hair, whatever you guys want to call it. And it takes a while to transition. It takes about 2 weeks for the plants to get set up for soil. So we want to go ahead and keep that in mind because that's not really going to be shock. That's just going to be a transition period. A lot of people will call it that, but it's just your roots transitioning over. And so we have to keep that in mind, like I said, when we go ahead and put these things in soil as to when we want to get them out as early as possible without them getting froze. So you keep that 2 weeks in mind and that'll help you with your grow time and you won't have any confusion on maybe they're in shock or something like that. So now that we got that out of the way, let's go show you what we're using as far as soil and compost goes. Talk a little bit about why we're going more with it. So we'll see you guys inside. Now before we do go inside, I'd like to let you know that we are a couple of weeks later than what you just seen. The elderberry is ready to be up potted and we're going to show you guys what we're going to be using for pots. And you're looking at it here, and we're using the magic mixture of peat moss, compost, perlite. You guys know that's our favorite base mix, and we threw a little pot and soil just on the very top because elderberry's bushes and they don't mind that wood chippy stuff. So now what I have here in this little container here, we have about this much Daddy Pete's Black Cow. We have about this much Black Wonder Gold Coast. All that's pure compost, both products. And then we have just a little bit of store-bought seed starting mix, which I don't really like some of those sticks in there, but you find it everywhere. So that's all we have. Elderberry is one of those things that I'm not ever really worried about as far as packing compost in, as long as it's not hot and don't have a lot of stuff in it. They love it. The more compost, in my opinion, the better. So we're just going to lay a little, like I said, just a top layer of soil. Everything else is really loose compost with a little bit of perlite in it for some air. Make sure there's a lot of oxygen in your soil. And that's all we need to get these things started. So let's go inside and show you how we do it. So we do have some older elderberry cuttings already established, much better than this. These are some young ones. But I'm going to do this to show you guys, for the ones that's been emailing me, asking me if you can plant the elderberry as soon as you see those white nubs come in. And that's what we're going to do with some of these younger cuttings here. We're going to go ahead and up pot them and just keep them in here since it's still pretty cool outside. Let them get established in that soil, and then we'll put them outside. So let's go ahead and get these young ones done first, and then we're going to take you outside and show you some of our older elderberry cuttings and how we're going to up pot them as well. Okay, so here's pots that you've seen that we just built outside, and all we're going to do is take our pinky and we're going to go 3 knuckles deep for our elderberry, because that's pretty much how all the stems has been established up that far, or in other words, that's how high our water level is. So as you can see, we're going to bury all the way up to those little white pimples there. We're going to cover every one of them up, and we're not going to be packing in this soil at all. Elderberry, they do like a little bit of moisture, but they definitely like to breathe. As you can see, I barely tamped that soil in at all. You want to get those roots time to get established and not have to push through some pretty hard soil or something that's compacted. So as you can see, we're going to go ahead and take all of our younger elderberries, and we're going to put them in these pots. And like I said, we're going to leave these in here. You want to make sure that you have flowers, or not flowers, at least leaves that's established on all your nodes, and you do have these roots protruding out. Now, a lot of industrial farmers will take these cuttings and just take them outside and shove them in the ground. And I've seen industrial farmers get pretty brutal with elderberry, and they're very resilient. Now, these things, they're going to grow really fast once you get them inside and get them established in water. So as you can tell, we've pretty much done every pot the exact same way. And now we're going to take you outside and let you see our more established elderberry cuttings from they're like a couple of weeks older. Okay, so really quick, here's those hairs I told you that would get established. As you can see, we have some older leaves, and we're going to transplant these exactly the same way. Okay, so now let's take you outside and show you how we take care of our mother elderberry plant after we cut her. In the wagon or trailer, we have some of our wood chips from the many piles we have on here. These aren't very aged. This was just dropped off this somewhere around December, I think it was dropped off, so it's not very old, but it's going to be perfect for what we're going to use for our elderberry. All this is going to do is give them some organic matter. We're going to throw some compost in there, and then on top of the compost, we're just going to go ahead and give them a good old 3 or 4 inch layer of these wood chips right here. Now, I had to pull to the back of the garden because just you can see right there at that pole where elderberry's sitting there, and the trailer's right here. If I parked over there, I'd have a much longer walk, so we're just going to toss it over the fence and on top of the elderberry. Okay guys, that's all there is to it. You can already see this thing has green leaves on it and little nodes growing everywhere. Okay y'all, we're back. We're down at the Omega Garden. It's been 3 weeks since we did our last little filming of the elderberry. It's late March, but the elderberries grew. They grew us out of house and home. They're root bound. They need to go somewhere. If I up pot them and put them in anything bigger, we're not going to be able to keep them in the seed station or inside the house. We don't have a greenhouse, so we're just going to go ahead and put what we can outside to make a little bit more room. Try to preserve some. If colder weather comes, we'll try to cover them up and save them. But anyway, I'll show you guys what they look like. Okay, so here's what they look like now. I'll pick one up for you. So they're looking still pretty healthy, but they're getting yellow in the tops, and they're root bound. And like I said, we have a lot. We have probably somewhere around 45 left. So we're just going to go ahead and put them down here in the Omega Garden and try to insulate them all we can with chips. And if it gets cold, we'll just come out here and try to cover them with some buckets or something. But they've just went crazy on us. and they're all just too big to keep in the house anymore, and they're asking for something else. Our seed station, the light inside there is just somewhere around 3,000 lumens. It's not enough to keep up with all these plants, and they're asking for more room down here, and they're also asking to be fed, which is why we're just going to bring them in here and try to keep them warm enough until the weather gets right. Okay, so we've already laid our drip tape out, and these elderberry are going to be permanent here. So we've gave them about 3-4 foot to spread apart. The drip tape is laid in. It's already underground, based at the roots, and we're just burying everything up as we go. And by the end of the week, we'll have us a filter and water attached to it from the pump house over there, and we'll be golden. Now we'll quickly show you how we bury elderberry. We're just going to dig a hole 2 times the size of what's going in. Like I said, it's not rocket science, it's pretty easy. Make sure you don't compact your soil and you're good to go. Okay, so here's what they typically look like when you pull them out. That's almost perfect. It's not root bound. As you can tell, this one's in really good shape. And all we're going to do is just drop her in the hole and move on to the next one. As you'll notice, we're not going to do a lot of compacting. We're going to cover it back up with dirt, and then we're going to cover it with wood chips. Okay, y'all, we're done. I'll go ahead and show you what our rows look like. So here we are. These are around 4 or 5 foot apart this way, and we have them on 3 foot center. So in our drip tape, it's every 3 holes, so they're somewhere around 3-4 foot apart all the way down through there. So I'm not sure what was going on with them, the reason why they was yellowing and stuff. So it was either light, a lot of them was pretty root bound. We lost 5 that's not going to be able to be put in the ground. And I know it's really early, but like I said, we're going to come out here and try to save them when it gets cold. If not, we'll just have to start next year. But I couldn't let them die in the house under the seed station where there just wasn't enough light. Watching them die wasn't anything I wanted to do. So they look really good right now. Oh yeah, before we sign off, I'd like to take you up to the Alpha Garden and show you guys what our mother elderberry plant looks like since it's been a few weeks. Okay, so here's our elderberry after a few weeks. You can tell we already got some good growth going. It's getting pretty cold, but I believe she'll survive because it's been well established. Okay guys, we hope this helps when you do your elderberry. We're going to go ahead and stick some taters in the ground. We're a little late on that. We want to thank all you guys for watching, and as always, we'll see you again in the future.